On today's episode,
what about you're trying to write a letter and your handwriting, you're trying to make it better, but it gets worse. I'm sure, kids, that you can relate that you're trying to write better, but it gets worse. What about when you do your math?
My math. Oh, but math is fun.
Oh my gosh. And
it's
it gets
English though.
Hey kids and faith, welcome back to this week's episode. I'm here with
Bear, Nanny-Cake,
and
Frank.
We're here to teach you today out of the story we were in last week, okay? We had, what did we, well, we call her our mystery miracle, right? There's a mystery woman that got a miracle from Jesus on his way to perform a miracle for another young girl, okay? So we talked about last week that Jesus has come off the boat and he is there trying to get through the crowd as they're squishing up on him, you know, like real tight, everybody's real tight. And it says that they were thronging him. Frank, they were really tight. All the people are trying to touch Jesus. They're trying to talk to Jesus. They're trying to, I don't know, maybe tell Jesus their problem or ask questions. It said that Jesus was so wise in his words and wise in what he said that people would come to him to hear the wisdom.
Bruh. Look at this dude.
What did you call her?
Yawn girl.
Yawn girl is in the house. Yawn girl. No. So Jesus, we don't know all the things that they were coming to Jesus for, but we know there was a lot of people, okay? So they're thronging him like a big crowd. Where have we been in big crowds? Think of places where we have been in like big, thick crowds and we were really tight together. Name a place.
Disneyland.
Where else?
Isn't that the same?
He took your answer. Where else have you been?
An airport.
Oh gosh, yes. Sometimes in an airport, like when everybody wants to get on the airplane, they crowd around. What is that they crowd around? Do you know what that's called? To get on the jetway. But there is, you guys probably don't even know the words. They just don't even, they're just too busy fellowshipping with their friends. You've seen it in the vlog videos. And as long as they have their ticket and they get on the plane, they're fine. But a lot of times people crowd around there. What about a sporting event, right? Yeah, a sporting event. People
Like a football game.
Like a football game. Yes, like this last year, we went to a football game, didn't we? I think, how many football games did you get to go to?
When, like, in total?
Yeah. Think about it.
3.
3?
2 preseason games and
2 preseason?
an actual football game.
When did you go to the second preseason game?
Me and you and
Oh, you're talking about like...
that was a football game. Like
I'm talking about this year.
Oh, 2.
2. There we go. We got the right answer. 2.
I thought you meant because I said in total, and you're like, yes.
No,
I was like,
I meant in total for the year, but that was a
Awkward.
Okay, so 2 games, and there was times in the stadium, getting into the stadium, right? It was very crowded. But I'm telling you kids, even if you've been to Disneyland or Disney World, or you were crowded maybe at school for an assembly, or going to a sport game or something where there was a lot of crowd, the ice cream shop, Andy, even no matter how crowded it was, even if you were all crowded together, nothing was gonna compare to what was coming and the people that were coming to be around Jesus because they needed him. They were all focused on him. But there was one woman, And I love the story, who had a greater focus, and we could say a greater faith than everyone around him, because all those people around him, no one was getting Jesus to stop. He was still moving forward to get to Jairus' daughter. That was his goal.
Person?
Now tell the kids what was wrong with Jairus' daughter. What was going on?
She was sick for 12 years.
And no, Jairus' daughter wasn't sick for 12 years. She had gotten sick, and what was about to happen?
She was about to die.
She was about to die. So isn't it important that Jesus gets to her, right? It's very important. Don't you think Jairus is like trying to hurry Jesus along so that his daughter, Jesus can get there before his daughter dies? I would want that for my kids. But all these people are thronging him, and he's trying to move through the crowd, and one woman stops him. And this woman, if we look at Mark chapter 5, and it said in verse 25, a certain woman which had an issue of blood 12 years. Bear, remind the kids, how old are you?
11.
And how many years? You'd have to have one more year, and that would have been a total of 12 years that you would have been sick. It would have encompassed your whole life, right? That would have been very hard for you to be sick. And not only that, this woman couldn't leave her house when she was sick.
What?
Did you know that? That we didn't tell you that last week. She was actually not allowed to leave her house. Now, what happens when we get sick? Andy, have you ever been sick and you couldn't, or I'm sorry, Frank.
It's okay.
But I'm trying to say is, have you ever been sick and you wanted to go out and play with Andy, but you couldn't?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, I wanted to go hang out with Andy, and I lost my voice, and my throat was a little sore.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we didn't even see you here that next day at work, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And so have you guys ever been to where you were sick? Do you remember times? You haven't been sick very much. I can say that for sure. It's not very often, but maybe you didn't feel 100% and I told you can't go somewhere, right? Or you can't maybe spend the night at your nanny's house. Whose nanny?
Pastor Nancy.
Pastor Nancy. Or you couldn't maybe go out and go to the class. That is really devastating when you can't go to class, right? Yeah. When they can't go to class, they do not like not being able to go to Trailblazers. So sometimes if they have symptoms, they can't. This woman, guys, had not been anywhere for 12 years except for the doctor would come and see her.
Oh, man.
Can you imagine being in your house for 12 years? 12 years. Nowhere, no friends. Andy's not coming over. Your friends aren't coming over, right? Nobody, just the doctor. That's it. And she's spending all of her money. It says here, she had suffered many things of many physicians, and she had spent all that she had and was nothing better, but rather grew worse. The doctors weren't making her better. She was getting worse.
Wow. That's not fun.
That is not fun. Have you ever had something that you felt like if you could just make it better, but instead of it getting better, it made it worse? Can you think of something that you can go, oh my gosh, I was trying to make that better, but it actually got worse? Can you think of something?
Like a drawing. You mess up and you try to make it better and it just gets worse.
And it just gets worse. That's a good example. What about for you?
I don't have anything.
Oh, everything is just perfect. No, I'm just teasing. I know. Sometimes I put them on the spot and they don't have really anything. But I would say for you, drawings, I've seen you when you draw or write, right? What about you're trying to write a letter and your handwriting, you're trying to make it better, but it gets worse? I'm sure, kids, that you can relate that you're trying to write better, but it gets worse. What about when you do your math?
Oh, but math is fun.
Oh my gosh. And
It's
it gets
English, though.
Yeah, and it gets worse. You're trying, but this woman wasn't just doing schoolwork. She is taking her body and trying to make her body better. And instead, it's getting worse.
Worse.
Well, what do you think is going to happen?
She might die.
She might die. If her body's not getting better, then she's going to die. Now she's in the same place at this point as Jairus' daughter. So next week when we come back, kids, we're going to finish up the story about this mystery woman who got Jesus' attention. But I want to encourage you today, kids, you can get Jesus' attention. And we're going to learn how next week that we can get Jesus even as a child, even at school, in your room, no matter where you're at. So many people are calling out to Jesus every day. And you say, but if all these people are calling out, how do I get Jesus' attention? How do I know Jesus is listening to me? We're going to talk about that next time on the episode of Kids in Faith. Okay, kids, now I think it's time for a joke.
Hey, Frank, I got a joke for you. What is the smartest tree in the forest?
I don't know. What is it?
An Albert Einstein tree.
Albert Einstein.
Frank, you kind of look like an elf.
Well, he is my alter ego, Mr. Albert. Or as I like to say, Alberto.
Alberto. Guess what? We now have a Kids in Faith coloring packet. Get it now.
You can go online and purchase it at defrainministries.org/kidsinfaith and in person at our miracle crusades and conferences.
Hey Kids in Faith, do you like coloring? We have our new Kids in Faith coloring page. You can download it on our website or you can get it at our bookstore. Submit your drawing on our website today. Peace.
We want to hear your testimony. You can now go online on defrainministries.org/kidsinfaith and submit your testimony.
Revelations 12:11 says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Our testimony is powerful and can help others see the awesome power of Jesus.
We're so excited to hear about what God has done for you in your life. Hey Kids in Faith! Go check out our Kids in Faith YouTube channel and make sure to subscribe to watch more episodes.
You can also follow us on Instagram at Kids in Faith to keep up with episodes in our Kids in Faith news channel.